How are you guys doing?
All good. Too good.
Too good. So Paridhi is it's her debut today. You're here on the show for the first time. And I thought अगर हम रामायण पे बात करने वाले हैं, I want to have the brightest kids I've stumbled upon when it comes to mythology. So Paridhi, Laksh, both of them are fans of it. They consume all of it. They do not use chat GPT. And we're doing it for the first time. How are you feeling?
Mix of glee with nervousness.
Mix of glee with nervousness.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I feel good, but at the same time, I feel like, oh my god, why am I here?
And what about you, sir?
I feel very good, and I'm always excited to come to your podcast when it's especially about mythology subjects.
So can you guys one by one tell me about what is your perspective of Ramayan and what have you read?
I have always had the thought that Ram was the best character in the entirety of the Ramayana. But now that I think of it, after I read Forest of Enchantments, the Ramayana from the
Sorry, what?
The Forest of Enchantments is the Ramayana from the perspective of Sita.
Okay.
After I read it, I had this thought that if the reader wants to love Sita, the reader has to end up hating Ram.
Okay.
I've always had that perspective ever since I read that book. And I think that by the end of the book, after Sita is in the earth, Ram is already regretting everything he did, but he also forgets the fact that he's not human, he's divine.
Mhm.
And Brahma comes to remind him of that. Na? For that, I have just one word. I have had that perspective for so long. He has been a perfect and ideal king, but he forgot the rules of family when he was ruling the kingdom. That's my perspective.
Was it before Vanvas or after Vanvas you're talking? Or the entire time?
Entire.
What about you?
So my perspective of the whole Ramayana is that it was filled with lot of tragedies, like happy moments and everything that is mixed in the Ramayana. So according to me, I'm like saying perspective of Ram, Lord Ram. So Lord Ram actually, he first, in the end of the Vanvas, he first insulted Sita. So Sita was like very upset and angry on Ram. So she had entered with fire. Then Agni Dev told her told Lord Ram that take Sita with you because she is a divine person. And after all, she's your wife. How could you insult her like this? That is one thing which is in the Ramayana, and that was one of his mistakes. Otherwise, he was a very good, perfect leader. But sometimes, gods can make mistakes.
They're humans. Gods and humans only.
How humans to in Kali Yuga,
Yeah. But humans can't be gods.
yeah.
They can never.
They can never. They can feel God inside them in a way. There is this divine intervention that happened in their lives.
I read the Bhagavad Gita a long time ago. I have just started rereading it for the 8th time, so I really don't.
8th time.
I read it 7 times in the
7
past.
बार समझा नहीं क्या?
No, I like rereading everything I have. That's
Beautiful.
why. But I had read it for the 7th time 2 years ago. For
Okay.
2 years I stopped. And I felt that after rereading the Bhagavad Gita, at first I did not understand, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So after that, I read it again and again and again until I finally understood. It was like your body is temporary, but your soul is permanent.
Beautiful. It stays with you,
Yes.
even if you're not.
It's like you throw away garments and you wear new ones. The soul throws away bodies and goes to new ones.
Beautiful. You believe in that. And that has been your original belief, or is it something that you have grasped from your family?
No.
It's yours.
My original. And I'm a Vaishnava. I don't believe in any other gods but Vishnu.
Is it?
Vishnu and Shiva. That's
Do you think it's okay to believe in one? Do you think believing in just one God and believing in no God are the same things?
no. When you believe in God, no matter when it's one or many, you will always have that belief. You will never say like God is God and that khatam kahani.
Hmm.
You will never say that.
Hmm.
You will have that belief ki Vishnu is the preserver or Shiva is the destroyer. He has done this, that. But if you're an atheist, then you will only have belief in humanity. You won't be saying that there is no God, but you will not have faith in God.
Hmm.
So, even if you believe in one God, you will have faith in them.
Hmm.
Like, for example, if you're struggling, you will always be like Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Bhagavate Vishnu, and that all. But you will never say Om humanity. Will you ever say that?
Yeah, true.
You will never say that. So that's not true.
So you cannot make it as a part of your internal calling. Humanity, you cannot even chant about it. Oh, humanity, you have saved us for nothing. Oh, humanity, you have been a part of my internal solace. It's not like that.
No.
Interesting. It's so interesting that we have started talking about Ramayan, but we still haven't talked about Ravan, Sita's, and all these, like all the characters. It's good that you have a perspective, but what have you read when it comes to Ramayan?
Well, I read the entire Ramayana when I was very little, probably 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
she's 21 now, no?
5 years ago, I
Yeah.
read it. My mom introduced me to Ramayan. Thank you, mom. And when I read it, I felt a deep pity for Sita because women always look from the woman's perspective and men from
Yeah.
the men's perspective. So when I read about the Agni Pariksha and how Sita suffered that humiliation, I felt for the first time when I was 5, I felt anger for Ram. Ki, how could you do this?
Right.
You knew she was pure, she wasn't polluted. You knew that.
Yeah.
So what I read was that from the Forest of Enchantments.
Let's not talk about the specific things. Let me know what all types of Ramayans and how much of it have read.
हाँ.
मतलब वो
I've
तुमने
read-
हमने बताया था जो.
I read the Forest of Enchantments, in which we learned how a woman is to be treated. I read the Valmiki Ramayana from ISKCON, in which we learned about human failures and how to endure.
Which is the original Ramayan.
Yes. And the Kids Ramayana, which is just teaching us morals about being kind. And
The learnings.
yes.
What have you read?
In Ramayana, like I have read only Kids Ramayana till now. I think so. I have read Valmiki one also. I'm not like sure, but like I mainly got Kid Ramayana books only. And may I also tell one more perspective of Ramayana?
Go ahead.
According to me? Okay. So it actually the whole perspective of Ramayana, I think about it is that it was filled with many things, but there are some things in Ramayana which are kind of like myths which people don't know. So we have to uncover all of those, na. So those are like one kind of perspective in the whole Ramayana.
So let's start with that. What do you think is the biggest myth of Ramayan?
Ravan was evil.
Okay, that was very fast. Okay.
So many people hate Ravan. And no, you should not hate Ravan, you should not hate Kumbhakarna, you should not even hate Shurpanakha for that fact.
Wow.
And okay, Ram was the hero, and many people say Ravan was the villain. There is no hero, there is no villain, there is nothing.
Okay.
So many people think that Ravan was evil, right? But some people, one of them my mother, found that amongst the evil deed that he did, we can find one thing, maybe a few more, that he had with a good heart. He was very, very sweet, very humble. Before one thing, he was the son of Kaikashi and Vishrava, sage Vishrava and Rakshashi Kaikashi. And so Kaikashi's stepson, their stepbrother, took over Lanka, and that belonged to Kaikashi's father Sumali. And they were very poor. his sister Shurpanakha used to cry because they had to starve before sleeping, and so they went and asked Kuber. Kuber said no,
Kuber is who?
the god of wealth.
Okay.
So he said no, and when he asked the other gods for help and to punish Kuber, they said no, and that was when he started his revenge arc. So-
Revenge arc.
So he was never evil. And one more thing is very paradoxical. It's that he's a devotee of Shiva. And just in case if you know the Shiva Tandavam Stotram, do you know it?
Hmm.
So it was not composed by any sage or any saint. It was composed by Ravan.
Oh, he was a music director.
No,
Yeah.
but he
Pritam
was
of Ramayan is Ravan, guys. Huh.
and because he tried to lift Kailash once to take it home to Lanka, thinking that Shiva will be happy there. But when he lifted it, he screamed because Shiva's big toe, he pressed it on the Kailash, and that put a humongous amount of weight.
Hmm.
And he shouted a rav or a loud scream,
Hmm.
and that gave him the name Ravan. Before that, he
Hmm.
was called Dashanan.
Right.
And he got his boon by chopping his heads off,
Hmm.
9 of his heads.
Hmm.
And when he pushed it down, he not only screamed but he started singing mantras to Shiva,
Hmm.
which made Shiva lift up his toe and let his hands come out.
Beautiful.
So he was never really evil. It was not only Kuber, but it was also Lakshman who triggered this. Ram and Lakshman. Do you know how? Once Surpanakha went to attack Sita, instead of letting Sita handle this, because she learned the art of war, I read in some book, they attacked her. And that was the biggest mistake Ram ever made in his life.
Hmm.
And I think that is the biggest myth, that Ravan was the villain in.
So तात्पर्य ये है लक्ष्मण के वजह से रामायण हुआ है. No Ravan or Ram was hurt in this making. What do you think? What is the biggest myth?
The biggest myth, like it's not the biggest, but one kind of myth in the Ramayana there is given, that it is actually about Kumbhakaran. That's what the idea was in my mind, what she said. So Kumbhakaran actually wasn't evil. It happened that in the Ramayana he had told Ravan that return back Sita to Ram, but Ravan did not listen.
Okay.
So Ravan was not listening to his brother Kumbhakaran, and then Kumbhakaran had to follow his elder brother's orders, otherwise he would
No.
kill him.
That's not true. Kumbhakaran didn't say that. I mean, you're partly right, but Kumbhakaran said before you did it, you had to counsel us. We could counsel you, na? You had to tell us before you took any action. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. That's what Kumbhakaran said.
Right.
Yeah, but kind of in one Ramayana it is given like that, so it's like one
बच्चे
kind
वाला
of
पढ़ा है.
myth.
But I think there are a lot of differences in the Valmiki Ramayan and all the depictions of Ramayans that we see, which are very commercialized. मतलब उसको बेचने के लिए ऐसे बनाया जाता है कि वो देखने को अच्छा लगे, महसूस करने के लिए नहीं, सीखने के लिए नहीं. तो जैसे सिंघम में हुआ था, उसके बाद वो आदि पुरुष हुआ था, इतने सारे मूवीज आए, चले क्यों नहीं? बिकॉज वो जो एसेंस है ना, जो आई कांट बिलीव आई एम सेइंग दैट, जो जापानीज कार्टून्स ने बनाया था, जो पहला जो था ना, फर्स्ट वाला रामायण जो जापानीज कार्टून था, it was our thing. We all have grown up watching that. I remember my leg was fractured in 4th standard and I was at home for 5 months. Every day I used to watch that Ramayana. I don't know why. The way Sita used to cry, the metaphorical value of that drop of her tear amalgamating into her feelings. Then there is depiction of Ravan, which had the voice of Amrish Puri. Amrish Puri had this raging voice which gave Ravan that attitude that he deserves. On the other end, Ram was so soft. He was such a Pookie. That was the depiction. But of course, that was not the perfect depiction of Valmiki Ramayan. But yeah, like there are things which are shown in the uh, things that we have seen which are not true. Do you guys know any of it which are not true?
One more is that I think this is kind of funny to say, but this is not a myth, this is true. And some people say that Hanuman is still alive. Some people think it's myth, some people think it's true. I'm neutral. I want to believe it true, but at the same time, I'm a little skeptical.
Also, in the Valmiki Ramayan, it is nowhere mentioned that the concept of Lakshman Rekha,
Also, the Ram Setu.
Ram Setu,
Yeah, that is
the
also not
pool,
mentioned.
that was not mentioned in the original Valmiki's Ramayan. And then we are seeing this version of it in which it is shown. So, what do you feel about it?
I did not read about the Ram Setu, but I did read about Lakshman Rekha. Some people in the original Ramayan, they just mention it as line of fire or the line drawn around the hut,
LOC, line of control.
something like that. So it was always depicted as flames. It was never written Lakshman Rekha. वैसे mention नहीं होता that line was owned by Lakshman.
Right.
It was always made as Lakshman made the rekha. They never said that Lakshman ka rekha hai wo. They always depicted it as line of fire or line of power or line of protection. They never said कि Lakshman का line है, Lakshman owns it. They never mentioned that.
So when Lakshman and Lord Ram had gone with Sita Mata for exile, how did Urmila feel?
Yes, she slept for 14 years while Lakshman was awake, na?
I don't know.
She did. She did.
क्या बोल रहे हो तुम?
She
क्या?
did.
क्या?
That's-
क्या?
I
That's
think that's
true,
a
though.
myth.
That's not a myth. Lakshman took the
हाँ,
boon
उसी ने
from
अलार्म
Nidra.
लगाया था.
Lakshman had asked a boon from the goddess of sleep that I want to be awake for the 14 years so that I
Huh.
can protect them. But Nidra said that you will be asleep for 14 more years when you return. So he said okay. When she went to Urmila after she asked to die from the god of death who sent Nidra, she asked that let me sleep for 14 years.
हाँ.
And she did. And after they came, Sita was so terrified that she even sang for Urmila to wake up. And then it's said that her spirit like went out of her body. She was alive, but her spirit went out of her body.
Oh, bhai.
She died at the spot.
But she did
No,
not
no,
wake
no,
up.
no, no.
She did not wake up.
She woke up, but after a long time. A day, she woke up after hours, and after a day, she started speaking.
अगर जल्दी उठाना था तो टोनी कक्कर के गाने लगाते. पटक से उठ जाती.
Otherwise, full electric charger.
Let's not get into abuse. But that's a good perspective.
Like not to Urmila, but other people who need to seriously
Of
wake
course.
up.
You're also a feminist. What do you think? Who do you think is the most underrated Ramayan character?
Urmila.
Urmila. Okay. Why?
See, even in the Forest of Enchantments, it's written that
Firstly,
Urmila,
explain who's Urmila.
Urmila is the younger sister born in the ironies of life a year after Sita was found.
Younger sister of Sita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she loved Sita with her entire body, heart, soul, everything. And she had that one thing that made her so loyal to Sita that she was literally ready to give up her life for her. And two more are the cousins, Mandavi and Shutakirti. So these three are the actual heroes of this tale. You know why? Urmila, like I said, slept for 14 years. But the fact that she was frightened at first, ki, what if they cremate my body thinking that I'm dead? But then she was like, I'm doing this for Lakshman and Sita. I don't care. And she went into that sleep and she waited and waited and waited for so long when she was in the heaven, whatever, where. And Mandavi and Shutakirti, they were forever loyal to their husbands. And when the exile started, Bharat and Shatrughan went to Nandigram and they followed them. But they were also worried, they were very worried. And if they found out what was done to Sita, even I think, even the calmest of gods would get angry, because that's injustice. So I think that the three sisters of Sita are the most underrated characters in
Got it.
Ramayana.
What about you?
The most underrated character means like the most unpopular.
नहीं, underrated मतलब वो है जिसको credit नहीं मिला ज़्यादा.
अच्छा, credit नहीं मिला तो like we can say it for the three sisters again, because actually any other character if I thought about, I would say from the Vanar side. From the Vanar side, like you can see, there are many unpopular Vanaras in our whole Ramayana. So, one of them is, I guess, Nala, who had helped build the whole bridge. He had got credit from Lord Ram, but in some epics it was not told. Like Nala was considered as the character who was Vishwakarma's son who built the Ram Setu. But the thing is that I don't think he got any credit from anyone else except Lord Ram.
Okay.
And also the squirrel which helped during the Ram Setu.
I know that story. I know it. And then Ram like stroked the back, and that's why they have like 3 lines. on the
Ha,
back.
that's the thing that squirrels have.
Do you
That's
guys
what
know
they
Hanuman wrote Ramayan before Valmiki?
I heard that story, but I forgot it.
Yeah.
I brought a Ramayana book in my bag.
Is it?
Yes.
In that, what is it written?
It's the Valmiki Ramayana.
The main one.
Yes.
Can you get us? Bas.
This is the book.
Oh, we can literally see it's very old. दिखाओ थोड़ा cover कैमरा को ये वाले. Yeah, very good. This is the original Valmiki
Yeah.
Ramayan.
It tore, and
हाँ.
I have all the kand written in it here.
माइक पकड़ो हाथ में. मैं पकड़ता हूँ.
सारे कांड का वो सब लिखा रहता है. And I don't want to show the book because it's sort of personal for me. And
I think it contains Bal Kand, Yuddha Kand,
yeah,
all of
every
that.
kand, it has every kand.
You know what? There is one Kand of Lord Hanuman.
Yes,
Sundarkand.
Sundarkand.
क्या है कौन सुंदरकांड क्या है?
So it is
Sundarkand is-
believed if you're reading Sundarkand, Hanuman will come and sit next to you.
That is like in energy form. Like,
Energy form.
it is
Obviously.
shown that sometimes when big pujaris they sing Sundarkand or Bajrang Band or anything about Lord Hanuman, na, especially when they sing Sundarkand, that time I have seen that many monkeys come towards them. They do namaskar to Lord Ram, also his frame, like that. So it is also considered as kind of like a miracle.
Don't you think Hanuman could have insisted much better in order to convince Sita to just come? आजा. क्यों यहाँ पे लंका में क्यों बैठे?
So Sita, just like Ram, was more concerned about his honor, but not in the way that she was ready to give up her own life for Sita's honor, his honor. She was concerned in a way that they would not praise Ram for being the divine, the one who rescued his wife. They would not praise him. And in the Forest of Enchantments, it's written that she literally fought Shurpanakha after she almost choked her to death. And she did not get credit for that. She directly was forced to go into an Agni Pariksha, and then when she Lakshmi's incarnation was Panchali, and when she incarnated as Draupadi, she got insulted again, and she suffered it, she endured it, but she did not get credit.
Don't you think your perspective is much driven from Sita's perspective? Your own perspective?
No.
No.
My perspective is something that Sita, obviously there is Sita, but I also like to look from both perspectives, such as this and then Forest of Enchantments.
Okay.
Both the books have written the same epic,
Huh.
the same famous epic that everybody loves reading and watching, but both have a different way of telling it. For example, this book praises Ram so much that even in heaven he would be uncomfortable. but seriously, I would say you read the Forest of Enchantments. It's a
But
good
this is
book.
the original one, right?
It's the original.
ये तो जो वाल्मीकि ऋषि ने जो लिखा वही है, तो जो हुआ है, और वो भी हुआ है उस पे नहीं, उन्होंने पहले लिखा, उसके बाद रामायण हुआ, right?
No, it was actually happening when he was writing. He
Yeah.
was writing
but
and it was
as far as I know,
simultaneously.
he wrote it पहले.
No,
Am I wrong?
he started writing when Sita came to the ashram. He was still writing the book, and he was stuck. He had to write
Writer's block.
writer's block. That's
Huh.
weird.
Huh.
And so Indira Ma, his wife, massaged his head. And did you know that Valmiki was not a rishi?
Yeah, I know. He
was
was one highway robber
Yes.
named Ratnakara.
No, Lohajanga, not Ratnakara.
In Sudhamurti's book, it is given Ratnakara. Whatever it is.
Mine is Mahagatha, in which
हाँ,
is
तो
written.
highway
हाँ,
पे
I
क्या
also have Mahagatha
Highway
book.
पे robber.
हाँ, he was one highway robber. He used to take
Murder people.
money. हाँ, he used to murder people if they didn't give him money. So one time Narad Muni was
Not
walking on that
Narad,
road.
the Saptarishi. I read for the Saptarishi. We both read different but the same story. At
Yeah.
ये collab नहीं, ये war है. I think that's such a beautiful reflection in today's society also, right? Everything that we read and go through in Ramayana and Mahabharata, it applies to real life. When we literally like read between the lines. कि हाँ ये अभी भी हम लोग देख रहे हैं ये सारी चीजें. बट तुम्हें लगता है भरत भी काफी अंडररेटेड था?
Bharat Muni.
भरत.
Bharat
Oh, the king.
Shatrugna.
Bharat who he never became the king.
Yeah.
Yes, he gave up and then he adopted that deer, and then he was so attached to it that even when he was dying,
Hmm.
he was like, इसका ध्यान कौन रखेगा?
Hmm.
And because of that, as people say that what you're thinking of or who you think of, you are them or you are united with them in your next life. And so he became a deer in his next life.
I think I know this story. It is written in Sudhamurti's book also. You
I
read
read-
Sudhamurti's books?
Few. And I have a whole cupboard full of books.
I have one whole bookshelf I just ordered. I have all collection of Sudhamurti books, especially mythology.
I
Which I
want
had
to
bought
meet you
in
guys
home
after you grow up also.
And also one thing that the story which you were telling now about Bharat, there is actually, I think there's one more different Bharat who she's talking about. So like he was actually a philosopher who had
Bharat.
Bharat,
Jada Bharat, of course.
that one.
I read both, so I get confused.
इतना डम मैंने कभी महसूस नहीं किया है भाई. और even the people behind the camera.
And then he was born into a deer in his next life.
And then he was born into a royal family again, I think.
Hmm.
And after his parents died, his siblings called him Jada Bharat because he acted though he was deaf and mute.
Oh.
Because in his first life, when he was adopted the deer, he actually wanted to become a Vishnu Bhakt to the point that his soul ascends to Vishnu.
Wow.
And when he became attached to the deer, that wasn't possible. And in his life as a deer, he regretted that he did that. And he went back to another ashram where he died and became part of the royal family again. And that's where he taught the king, and when he was traveling, he became poor. I don't know why, but he became poor. And then he traveled somewhere where robbers decided to use him for a human sacrifice. And due to his devotion for Vishnu, he was ready to give up his life. So Mahakali, who they were sacrificing to, literally came to life and killed all of the robbers.
Wow.
And she blessed him.
I think Bharat also, when Ram was not there, he kept Ram's chapters,
Bharat.
padukas.
हाँ,
ये तू अलग घुस गई.
Padukas on the
Padukas
Sinhasan.
towards towards the throne, near the throne, so that it
In,
is
in
ruled
this,
by
it's written that
his soul.
he kept it on the throne.
On
with
the
a
throne.
cloth.
Sorry, ma'am.
With a cloth.
Sorry. thoda. But what do you think is the most important purpose of Ramayana?
The purpose of Ramayan is that, for example, many Ramayans have many alag purposes. For example, this Valmiki Ramayan is to show that there are human failures. As human, we will fail, we will be imperfect, but you have to learn how to endure. And that is the way of life. And in the Forest of Enchantments, it's showed that you have to never disrespect a female, because female are the same people who gave birth to you. They are the same people who nurtured you. And there are many Ramayans, such as the Adbhuta Ramayan, the Kamba Ramayan, and who God knows how more.
Ramcharitamanas Ramayan.
Huh?
Ramcharitamanas Ramayan.
And then there is a Bengali Krittibasi Ramayan. There are many.
Then there is a Bhutan, one of Nepal also.
There is one of Myanmar, Thailand, China even.
Thailand में भी लिखा है.
हाँ,
हाँ.
Thailand, of course, it is the whole place of Buddhism.
Ramakian. It's known as Ramakian.
हाँ, Ramakian.
But I wanted to say something, that many people say that Ram was right to test Sita. He wasn't. Nah, if he wasn't, then why do many people agree with him to test that she was pure? Even though he knew she's pure, she was never. She didn't even let Ravan touch him. When Ravan said that Ram is a straw, she placed a straw between her and Ravan. My concern is not that रामायण का कुछ मेन प्लॉट में कंसर्न है कि रावण ने ये क्यों नहीं किया, रावण ने ये क्यों किया. My concern is, if Ram knew that Sita did not let Ravan even touch her for the first thing, how dare he ask her for the Agni Pariksha? And it was not that he asked her ki you take a trial from fire. He rebuked her so bad that it disgusted even me when I was reading it.
I'm actually neutral with both of those, because actually I am with the point that also she felt insulted. But I think Lord Ram should have told her that this was just a test. He told her, but he should have told like more specifically. So then he should have explained more detail so that she could understand more. And I'm neutral for the other part is that Lord Ram was actually right to take a test. Otherwise, how would he know that she was being for so many years with Ravan? What if she got a little bit change? Because like when gods take birth, like they don't know what is their like, are they a god or not? And mentioned in last year's podcast, na. So that time, that's what the thing is about. Like, you should like take tests upon others to check if they are still pure. What if Sita would have turned neutral, would have gone with Ravan? What if she was like, I am on Ravan's side, why you killed him? So I think that was also right. But he should have,
From his perspective.
he should have also not insulted her so harshly. He should have said it like a bit low kind of, not that much high.
What Ram did was that he spoke in his voice neutral. His voice was calm, as if speaking to a child. He said that I've completed my duty to you. I have nothing to do with you now. You can go back, you can marry Vibhishan, you can marry Sugriv, you can marry any of these people. Just don't come back to me.
That he did to test her.
No, he didn't just do that to test her. Even when she said, I am pure, he rebuked her again and again and again, to the point where she wanted to commit suicide. He knew all along. He knew that she had nothing to do with Ravan, and she would have never changed for that fact. And actually, what to say, that yes, I still believe that if you want to like Sita, you have to end up hating Ram, no matter what.
Okay. You have to hate someone in order to start liking someone?
Not exactly, but by the end of the whole book, you actually have to start hating Ram if you want to feel pity for Sita.
I
Hmm.
think you need to be neutral because Ram is a good character in Ramayana. He's
But
not
we are
a
also
worst.
overlooking all the great aspects of Ram, right?
Yes, of course, I do believe he's a very obedient child. He went to
Child.
Vanvas knowing that it would cause sorrow to his family, and he endured for so long without Sita. But the end of the Vanvas, he shouldn't have rebuked her so sharply. He should have just said that he should have praised her, in fact, because Ravan dared not touch her. Because, for the first thing, Ravan found out in the end. Oh, by the way, Ravan was not Ravan actually. Okay, I'll explain.
He was a good person.
He was a good person, of course he was.
I've read that in Sudhamurti books. That's why
No.
our explanation is same.
No, what I'm saying is that in his past life, he was actually cursed to become 3 lives with Kumbhakaran
Yeah.
on his side. And so they were Jaya Vijaya, the doorkeepers or
Ah.
gatekeepers of Vaikuntha.
They all cursed Jaya and Vijaya because they were not letting them enter to Lord Vishnu's abode, which is Vaikuntha.
Hmm.
So they thought that they were some kind of outsiders or something, and then they caused Jaya and Vijaya to be
Not
born,
born as 3 lives. They just cursed them to be born on earth.
that's what, born on earth only as villains like Hiranyaksh, Hiranyakashipu.
I love their
Ravan.
attitude. ये भाई on fire है, ये on भाई ice. हाँ जो भी है. I like that we are keeping the fire and water in the same room. But you guys are doing good.
Do you know the story of when a sage kicked Vishnu?
I know.
And the
Brigu.
Srivatsa? And so, because of that, Sri or Lakshmi left him.
Because he kicked that sage kicked Lord Vishnu at the left side of his chest.
Huh.
That's where goddess
And-
Lakshmi resides.
And the right is where Bhudevi resides.
Huh.
और क्या है मतलब?
And then
so
it happened that Lord Vishnu did not get angry after he kicked him because Brigu had an extra eye or something you can symbolize like anger, like people kick
Okay.
each other this time now. So he had one extra eye below his leg,
Okay.
and Lord Vishnu removed it by that way.
So what do you think? Do you think Hanuman was born to be a part of Ramayan, or did he have any singular mission in life?
That's a very, very specific question.
You are
I'm
saying
neutral.
specific things only, ma'am.
I am neutral.
Of
I,
course.
I
बीच
think
में आ जाओ थोड़ा बीच में.
so. What happened is how he was born was he's one of the 11 Rudras, which are the 11 avatars of Lord Shiva. And because of that, Shiva, do you know the place called Harihar?
Yeah, I know. Where
So
Lord Shiva and,
And-
Vishnu had combined together,
Huh. So
Collab.
collaborating. That time.
Harihar also gave birth to a child called Ayyappan.
Huh.
Ayyappan is the god of what?
He's God, I guess, in South India.
Yes. Yes. And
She's also South Indian. That's
I
why.
am
Acha.
South Indian. So they are always known to be the opposite and yet the synonyms of each other. So I think that Hanuman was actually born to do whatever he did, because first thing is that Ram was destined to kill Vali. Vali's brother was Sugriv, and Sugriv's minister was Hanuman.
Hanuman.
So in a way, yes, Hanuman was born to do whatever he did in the Ramayana.
What about you?
I think Lord Hanuman was born to do. I first was neutral, but I thought then that I should be specific with some things. So I think Lord Hanuman was born to do his task of his life, not like for playing an important role in the Ramayana, because he played a part of being a Vanar, Sugriv's minister, like first Vali's, then Sugriv's, after Vali was killed. And he took part in Ramayana and probably many other ways, like he became the 7 Chiranjeevis or the 7 immortals who are going to come with Lord Kaliki after to end Kali Yuga, to end Kali. So Lord Hanuman was born to do whatever he had to do in his life, not
Okay.
specifically for Ramayana.
Okay. So your perspective is he was born to do many things other than Ramayan.
Huh.
Your perspective is mainly Ramayan.
Mainly, but I also agree with him.
Wow! Yes! Finally. Wow. The impossible is not now possible. We did not talk about any of these things. Beautiful. Do you think it's okay to idolize Ramayan characters as gods? Like, for example,
I'm
why
confused.
Lakshman is not praised as a god? Why
Okay, I
uh,
literally researched
Sugriv is
about
not
this.
praised as a god? Why
I
only
know
Ram,
that.
Sita?
I researched about this for hours when I realized that's going to be a
Chat
question.
GPT?
No, not
Yeah.
ChatGPT. I went into books. I went into literally this. I went into many other books that I have. But mainly, I think that it's because he didn't have any independence. While we see that there is only Ram temple, we don't see Ram Sita temple. We don't see Ram Lakshman temple. Heck, we don't even see Ram Hanuman temples yet. But yes, I think that we should idolize Lakshman, because if it weren't for him, Ram would have never gained victory. Actually, Ram is not the only reason that Ram won. Hanuman is not the only reason Ram won. Lakshman also played an important role when he was guarding Sita, when rescuing Sita, and the fact that he was literally ready to give up his life and sleep for 14 years just for his brother and for his sister-in-law is crazy. So I think he deserves some credit for that, because Ram is not the only one who struggles. Lakshman is also the backbone.
But why do you think do we have to idealize any of them?
We actually idolizing any of them, specifically any of them, is, I don't think it's okay, because may I speak about Lakshman first?
Yeah,
That
sure.
thing, yeah. So Lakshman should actually get credit. We should call him like Lord Lakshman, because he is one of the main parts of Lord Ram. And you know why he's not considered as a god? Because he was like us. He was like a loving servant, not that kind of servant, but like a loving brother kind of, who serves whatever. He was following his brother. He
He
was
was a
like,
follower, not
he
the
was a
creator.
follower of his brother. He was like, I love my brother so much. He is one of my most important people in my life.
Supporting characters are never never get the credit.
Yeah,
That's
they
also
never
one
get.
thing.
That's why
But
they
that's-
actually should get credit,
They should.
because
That's-
they have done very many good things. That's why.
Lakshman, okay.
That's not the only reason why Lakshman should get credit. It's not only
He said he
because-
shouldn't.
I said he should.
अच्छा he should. But follower करने के लिए बस follow करने के लिए क्यों credit मिलना चाहिए? Idolize करने के लिए.
Because they have taken so many efforts. Lakshman had stayed awake to guard Lord Ram and Goddess Sita. So like,
But also I think like Lakshman was the one who tried making sense into Ram.
that's
Yes.
the thing.
Because Ram was way too emotional.
Yes.
और Lakshman was way too pragmatic, logical. कि भाई ये साइड भी देख लो यार, सीता से ये क्यों करवा रहे हो? वो लक्ष्मण ने ट्राई किया था बोलने के लिए.
He's like kind of
And-
neutral kind of side. And see, Lord Ram is emotional. He connects with the emotions and all of that. But Lord Lakshman is kind of like very practical. He's like, I know that thing because in the Ramayana epic, when Sita was like with Lord Ram, she wanted to accompany him. And when they said that you all have to leave, Ram alone has to leave, that time Lakshman joined behind them and told that I am also coming with you. So that is one kind of thing in the Ramayana. That
थर्ड व्हीलिंग भी कर रहा था वो.
Poor Lakshman.
You know, there are some Lord Lakshman temples of him himself.
I don't
know.
think so.
Why?
But there are. I know some.
And not
There
only
are some.
There
Can
are.
you look
of
it up?
course.
That's not
Ram
the
Sita's
only,
temple.
That's not the only reason. although they seem like one soul in two bodies, and Ram did not need Sita, they are not the same incarnations of Vishnu. One
Right.
is the incarnation of Sheshnag.
Sita.
Yeah. I know
Who?
because
That's Lakshmi.
That's
Lakshmi.
Lakshman.
Okay. Lakshmi.
Sheshnag-
Lakshman. What are you saying?
Lakshman is of Sheshnag.
Sheshnag. Okay.
So she said Sheshnag, that's why I said Lakshman. It first happened that
Acha.
there are the 4 yugas. In Satya Yuga no bad happens, so nothing bad can happen because Ravan that
In
time
Treta Yuga, there
was
is
neutral.
one point niche, and
Huh.
Dharma gets 3 legs.
Huh.
Then in Dwapar Yuga, Dharma gets 2 legs. And then in
Kali
Kali
Yuga.
Yuga, Dharma gets 1 leg.
है क्या?
Because they forget one of the qualities of Dharma one by one. So they'll forget in Treta Yuga 1, they'll forget 1 in Dwapar Yuga, and then now in Kali Yuga, they have forgotten 3 of the 4 main aspects of Dharma.
So you guys are
And-
saying like gods of 2 different reincarnations cannot be in the same temple.
And also sometimes it can be like
For example, Hanuman, Shiva, then Vishnu, Ram.
because
then-
Lord Shiva has taken incarnation of Lord Hanuman. So there are some particular stories about Ramayan that people don't know about, right? So like when it has happened many times, like when Urmila, they did not explain only. I told you now how Urmila felt. Then what happened with Shatrughna? They have not told only what was Shatrughna doing. Was he like crying, waiting for his brothers to come from the exile and Sita Mata? So he was waiting for them. That was not explained only. So it's not explained about his storyline. So after all the Vanvas and everything, Shatrughna only comes in the last part. They don't tell anything about him in the middle. That is one kind of thing that is not explained nor in the Valmiki Ramayana nor in any of the Ramayanas at least.
So what is your learning of it?
My learning of it is like you should explain everything.
Be comprehensive. What about
I
you?
have 2 stories that
The best one बता दो एक. हाँ.
the both are the best.
एक बता दो.
Okay, should I tell the one where Sita curses, or should I tell the one where Ram beheads someone?
Behates someone. Behates.
Okay.
We
Okay,
like
so-
violence.
So,
Violence.
so what happens is that Ram is just running his kingdom, enjoying
Huh.
royal life, although he's still in grief after banishing Sita. And while Sita is the lucky one partying in Valmiki's ashram with Love Kush. And so what happens is that a Brahmin just screams, "King Ram has killed my son." He just screams it. And so everybody gets up. How can
See
you
that
say
in British accent, no?
Oh my god, this is kind
King
of funny.
Ram has killed my son.
Nice, yaar, nice. He's also
King
doing.
Ram, I can do my French accent.
हाँ.
King Ram has killed my son.
That's a very cool word.
Okay, so everybody stands up ki, bhai, how can he kill your son? So he explains that his son collapsed and died. And although everyone looks confused, his minister and his guru Vasishtha explains that if anything happens, anything bad happens or good, it can be traced back all to the ruler. And that's what the Brahmin means by saying that you have killed his son. And so everybody is still in panic. Everybody is still in panic. Ki Ram is of good honor. How can he stay in his kingship like this? Then Narad Muni, who is visiting, says that it's because of breaking the law of humanity. What happens is that when, like we just told you that the legs of Dharma decrease by yugas, it's also that in Satya Yuga, only Brahmins can do meditation, puja and penance. But in Treta Yuga, Brahmins and Kshatriyas can also do. Then in Dwapar Yuga, Vaishyas can also do.
Yeah.
And it's only in Kali Yuga, no other Yuga, only in Kali Yuga where Shudras can do the same. But it's so that a Shudra is performing penance, catastrophe. So everybody is in panic. कि क्या चल रहा है भाई? So Ram goes to the Shudra. Shudras का name है Shambhuka,
Oh.
name of the Shudra. So Ram tries to convince him, and then Shudra Shambhuka points out that Trishanku had done sins, and he was part of the Suryavanshi dynasty just like Ram. And Ram also pointed out that now Trishanku hangs in limbo between heaven and earth.
Hmm.
When the Shudra doesn't listen, Ram beheads him.
Hmm.
I know this story. He was in a palace and he was kind of like a demon kind of nature. I think so.
Beautiful. Nice stories. Thank you so much. Do you think kids do have to read mythology?
Yeah. I think
It's optional because I care more about opinions than anything.
Of course, I have seen that today.
My opinion is that they can, but nobody should force them to do it.
Okay.
If they are forced to do it, then that's not reading it. It's being in the pressure of reading it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and also, like they should, whenever parents force their children.
What?
Did he just change his mind about it?
No. He did not say anything. Yeah.
So then, some parents like they force their children a lot that read mythology. You need to learn. You need to boost your IQ about mythology. But that is actually not right because whenever if the child gets very bored reading, they think like too much history. I don't care about this all. I just want to play and do all of that. They actually don't read the epic. They just do action of reading, and then they are like when will I go down to play? What should I do now?
Hmm.
And when their parents ask them questions that have you read this thing, then they say yes, and then their parents tell them very good, and when they ask them when the parents ask them questions, they are like I don't know. So that's why
Dhula.
they should not force them. Whenever they develop interest, that's why. But at least it is needed. Like you have to develop one interest in your child. You have to start. So when you have a baby now, you have to first start by reading out small lines. It all gets stored in the baby's memory or the child's memory. Then the child will soon be developing interest if you start from an early age. That's what my parents and my grandparents did. So they first read a few lines of books. They helped me to read, and then when I was like very small, and then I came to know. Now I read like epics books, many of those, and they never forced me that read mythology. They like first when I was
They
small.
naturally developed it.
Yeah, they
Then
developed it into
by
me.
seeing it, you learned it. That's a beautiful thing. I don't know. I never thought I'll say this. Do you have any book suggestions for the viewers?
I
yes.
have Sudhamurti
Three
books.
each. Three each. Huh? Three each. Yeah.
I don't know, I have 4.
Oh, no, three. Three is a nice number, no? It sounds nice.
Trimurti.
Okay.
हंसा दिया तूने आज.
I would say Forest of Enchantments, Palace of Illusions, and then I would say this book.
Valmiki.
It's the Valmiki Ramayan from ISKCON.
I would also say Valmiki Ramayan from ISKCON. Then one Sudhamurti book, The Man from the Egg, which is like some stories are of Rama. I think so. Then the last one, which is the Upside Down King, stories of Rama and Krishna. So in that they tell stories about Ramayana, Lord Krishna, that.
Beautiful.
And those are all like rare collection of stories that people don't even know now. They just think that this is one whole part. Some authors don't even reveal that. Like some authors like Sudhamurti, Devdutt Patnaik, Amish writes a few fictional books, but I'd say like Sudhamurti is non-fiction, and she has a very good collection of mythological books. She has one whole set of it only.
When it comes to life, what is one lesson that you have learned from Ramayana?
I have learned from Ramayan the most important life lesson. Always follow the path where your dharma is going. Like, so if you do not follow dharma, you go into various bad habits like arrogance, jealousy, lust, all of those things which Ravan had. That's what his 10 heads represent. Okay. His 10 flaws. So then you should be connected to your dharma. You should be very spiritual. You have to think about others. Empathy is also included in dharma. Dharma means the right way of going through the consequences in your life. Like how in a roller coaster you go up, down, up, down.
That's
But
what
you hold. So the roller coasters, those tracks now which go up and down, those are like the consequences in your life or the circumstances in your life.
downfalls, upticks, and everything.
Yeah. So you have to always aim high and always follow your dharma.
Let's do it.
My lesson is more what would we say? I don't know how to describe it, but my lesson is similar but yet not the same. It is that yes, you have to follow your dharma, of course, but when you do human failures, when you are struggling, you also have to learn how to endure. That is the one word upon which life is built. That's the base. The rest, everything just falls into line. And then a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, I don't remember the shlok, I just remember the translation, is that you just do your actions. You endure struggles, you do your actions. The rest is in God's hands. The rest will fall into place. Just learn how to endure. Then you have to learn how to be neutral, but not in a way that this is Ram, this is Sita, I'm in between. In a way that makes you emotional and yet not so, disconnects you but yet not so. Like, for example, how Ram had to banish Sita, how Krishna had to let Pradyumna go. That all falls in, everything just happens. You just have to do it, the rest will fall into place.
Yeah.
Endure dharma. If you meet Sita and Ram in real life and you have to make one confession to each,
Okay.
what one confession, ज़्यादा expand मत करना,
Okay.
to each, all of you.
Okay.
Confession means like something.
Yes.
Something that you want to confess, that you should have done this.
So, for Ram, it's already obvious by now. You should have never rebuked Sita. Yes, it was a folly that she wanted a deer. But it was not a sin. It was a folly, not a sin. And she shouldn't be punished so hard to the point that she's killing herself. And to Sita, I have no confessions except for the one thing. Yes, I know you are earthborn. Yes, I know you're a healer. But don't be over attached to animals. Don't be over attached to anything.
Because like attachment to materialistic things leads to Kali Yugas, people which they are doing now. And
confession.
so for Lord Ram, I would tell him the confession that like you should have not rebucked Sita so harshly. Our answer is both same only because our minds are like same only. So my answer is also the same, that you should have not insulted her so hard. I know that was a test, but try to keep it a little bit low.
Neutral.
And for goddess Sita, I would tell her that you should have like told Lord Ram that you should have like not been like I'm just leaving, I'm going into Mother Earth. I know she was feeling very sad. It's like she was not feeling good. She was very like down with her emotions. She was going down to Prithvi Lok. Now what would be the condition of Lord what would be the condition of Lord Rama? So a husband needs a wife, and wife is like one of the most important parts of the family. Woman is the backbone of the man, and we should not do we should not do like men are better, women are better. We should be equal. So she should have still accompanied her husband. She should have told him that like if she would have like told him that
Told it that this is wrong.
"Ha,
You
this
shouldn't
is
do
wrong."
this, vagera vagera.
And if he got into temper, then she should have just like stayed calm, not talk with him for a few hours, and then when he gets full peace, that time just they try to talk, play some games. Like that
Ludo.
times Shakuni mamas that but not in gambling. Not gambling.
क्या बोल रहा है भाई?
So
You know what would be like my confession to Lord Ram and Seeta? You should definitely watch this episode. Because we had a ball of time. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of this. I am so overwhelmed. I know there was fire, there is water, there is neutrality, there were disagreements, there were agreements. And this is the first time you guys are meeting each other. So I can say where you guys are coming from. I'm glad that you have your own values. You have your own values. And somehow, yet, you are able to tap into your naughty side. You're able to tap into your art, your culture, everything, which is much important than any mythological lesson that we will stumble upon. So thank you so much for being an amazing children, amazing sons and daughters, granddaughters, grandsons.
great grand.
हाँ, अभी ऊपर जगह आता हूँ मैं कलयुग तक, कलयुग के पीछे जाता
Then
हूँ
you are an ancestor. Be our ancestor.
बोल
You
दिया
said
भाई।
from great grandfather.
हाँ
na?
चलो देता हूँ
From
आशीर्वाद
ancestor. na?
But thank you so much for being a part of this. Last message to the audience. कैमरा वहाँ है तुम्हारा.
Never. This is a little weird for me to say this, but you should never blame. Never blame. And for that fact, never say that she who is the ultimate divine, Adi Shakti, never dishonor her. You know Sati's story, na?
I know.
Exactly what I mean. Sati, Draupadi, Sita, Urmila, whoever you're talking about, never dishonor women. Thank you.
You all should definitely read the Ramayan, Mahabharat, Bhagavad Gita. These are the epics of our Indian culture, art, and history. And you should never insult women, which is one very important thing. Always keep all the genders equal. And if you all try to harm anybody, you know what is going to happen.
We will block you.
Yeah.
We will report you.
Or Krishna will just downright kill you.
What?
ए बहन सुदर्शन चक्र
Shishupal.
Some god will just Shishupal you.
शिशुपाल the heck out of you. Heck बोला मैंने. It's fine. Thank you so much for subscribe करने को बोलो यार.
Like,
Follow
subscribe,
Paridhi.
comment, share.
Follow Paridhi. Follow Laksh. I'll attach the links of their Instagram.
And follow Siddesh Dada.
They already are. That's why they're watching this.
But maybe they are new people. You never
Of
know.
course, that's the attitude. इससे organically all reach आएगा. Thank you so much for watching. जय श्री राम और सीता मैया की जय हो.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we just clap for